Roll call, member, please.
Commissioner Esparza? Commissioner Gonzalez? Commissioner Moody? Commissioner Timmons? Chair Weisenberger?
Here. We have an newly appointed commissioner.
Yes. Right, so I would like to introduce Dr. Linda Timmons to the Planning Commission. Dr. Timmons was appointed to the Planning Commission by the City Council on March 14th, 2023. Dr. Timmons was sworn in on March 27th so that she could attend the Planning Commissioners Academy last week. So welcome, Dr. Timmons.
Item number 1 on our agenda tonight is approval of minutes
John.
from the March 1st meeting.
John, I can't really hear their mics. Do you hear?
And moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Esparza? Commissioner Gonzalez? Commissioner Moody? Commissioner Timmons? Chair Weisenberger?
Yes.
Yes, we do have one speaker's card from Rosemary Vasquez. It's for the Development Review Board, item number 2. So, Ms. Vasquez, we'll call you up after the presentation has been done on that item.
Agenda item number 2. This is a zone change, number 243. Excuse me, and this is a request for an amendment to ordinance 1072, zoning ordinance, text amendment number 3, by establishing revised development standards, including special events regulations in the Town Center East, which is the planned development with performance standard zone.
Yes, thank you, Chair Weisenberger and Commissioners. This item is a request for an amendment to the zoning for the Town Center East. The amendment deals with special event regulations and also revises several development standards. Assistant Planning Director John King will give you the details.
Actually be Ivan, right? Yes.
Ivan.
Thank you, John.
We'll just wait a moment for the presentation to come up.
Okay, thank you, John. We'll move forward with this. So, good evening, Honorable Chair, members of the Commission. This is a request to approve zone change number 243 and amending the current ordinance number 1072 for ordinance text amendment number 3 by establishing revised development standards, including special event regulations. So, just to give you some background, the Town Center East is generally located from 15950 through 16280 Paramount Boulevard. This area is within a planned development with performance standards, or PDPS zone, which was created in 1986 and revised in 1990. Back in 2016, the City Council repealed ordinance number 771 for zone change number 130 in its entirety and replaced with ordinance 102, the current one that we have now. This was to extend the area of the Town Center East in the PDPS zone. No other sections of the PDPS zone regulations were changed. So this is a zone change map area. Here are some of the businesses that are currently located in the Town Center East. It spreads from Jackson Street to on the south side, up Paramount Boulevard to the north, almost reaching Alondra, And finally, California Avenue is also adjacent to this property. These are some of the businesses that are located here. Big names, IHOP, you have Ross, you have La Michoacana, you have Horchateria, you have the Bank of California, just to name a few. There are also several professional office uses as well in this area. Generally, special event or grand opening permits were previously permitted for outdoor uses only. Since COVID-19 pandemic, business owners had to be creative and flexible in order to attract customers. Businesses such as Horchateria Rio Luna held various indoor events such as podcasts, a clothes swap, and an art exhibit. Based on the types of frequency of these events, establishing revised regulations for special events would streamline the approval process and expand capacity to accommodate the special events in the zone. The following are the proposed changes and new regulations within the PDPS zone text. This would introduce a new permitted use, which will be categorized as indoor special events. The list of prohibited uses will not be eligible to apply for an indoor special event. The city would not require a special event permit to be conducted indoors. In addition to the proposed event regulations, the Town Center East will include revised performance standards to be consistent with the C3 General Commercial Site Regulations. This includes exterior security doors, gates, and window coverings regulations, the sign standards to comply with Chapter 17.76 of the Central Business District Sign Design Standards, and landscape to comply with Chapter 17.96 with the water efficient landscape provisions in our municipal code. Furthermore, indoor special events will now be included in the section that regulates special events and grand openings. Rentals for private banquet style uses such as weddings or quinceañeras are prohibited. The following special events uses are exempted from applying for a special event permit and shall comply with the performance standards. So these are essentially the rules that they would have to comply with. For events that occur within the business building or suite, for retail, recording, promotional events, or exhibition events, this is in line with what we've seen in the past. There were small scale, pretty much for a day of use that they were occurring. So we feel this is in line with the regulations. The indoor event shall be within the same hours of operation as established by the existing business. So again, they won't go past the normal hours of operation if a business were to apply for this. Each indoor event shall be limited to 3 days, consecutive days, and shall occur no more than 60 days per calendar year. So they could be spread out throughout the year. With no more, we don't anticipate anything more than 60 days out of the year. A lot of times businesses have been creative with blocking a weekend event or something, so that's in line with what we've seen. They must comply with all applicable building codes and American with Disability Act requirements. There's also seasonal sales that we might see here, such as Halloween, Christmas, or New Year. Those are the typical holidays that we see for seasonal events. And any other similar temporary indoor use that are compatible with the zoning district and surrounding land use areas. So again, they haven't been more than a day that we've seen. Like I mentioned before, Chateria was one of the businesses that has started having these. So with that, it is recommended that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number PC 23011, recommending that the City Council approve zone change number 243, amending ordinance number 1072, or zone change amendment number 3, by establishing revised development standards, including special event regulations. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from our commissioners?
Has there been any request
So far, we've only had Horchateria that's been inquiring about this. The other businesses are more than welcome to apply for special events at this moment, but so far it's just been one.
Okay, well then let's open up the public hearing portion of this item here. We have any testimony tonight?
No speaker cards in favor or against?
And we need a motion to close the public hearing.
Commissioner Esparza, Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Moody, Commissioner Timmons, Chair Weisenberger. Commissioner Esparza, Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Moody, Commissioner Timmons, Chair Weisenberger.
No actions to report from the meeting last week. I did want to inform the commission, Chair Weisenberger in particular, that street numbers are going to be painted starting within the next week or two. So that contract finally was awarded, and so all the houses in the city, there will be a grid, so they'll be going in grids throughout the whole city and doing all the houses, all the street numbers will be repainted. The city's paying for it, so there will be some social media about not paying. If they do ask, they shouldn't ask, but if they do ask for payment, that will be letting people know that do not pay them. So, yeah. So,
Well, very good. So whichever commissioners are on the decorating, Christmas decorating committee, evaluation committee, will be able to see the address.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, and move to agenda item number 4, comments from our city attorney.
Yeah, just one comment, Mr. Chair. After numerous and laborious negotiations, both the planning director, myself, and city manager John Moreno, we did meet the deadline in working with World Energy to come up with our community benefits agreement. We finally got that, and the council did adopt that. So we have a 5-year agreement with them for $1 million a year to the city, with a potential option of going to 6 years in the event that the sound wall goes up. So it was a very lengthy negotiation, a lot of frustration, a lot of meetings, but everybody was able to come together, and we were able to hammer out, I think, a very effective agreement, which will be very beneficial to the city of Paramount. It starts as a 5-year, and then it may go to a 6-year. Yes. Of course, I'll be taking a 30% cut of that, but that's not in the agreement.
It's on record.
How about staff?
No comments.
Board Member Moody, Board Member Timmons, Board Member Weisenberger, Vice Chair Gonzalez, Chair Esparza.
Move to approve?
I'll second.
Board Member Moody? Board Member Timmons? Board Member Weisenberger?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chair Esparza?
For public comment.
No, just the speaker's card for item number 2.
Two is the ERA number 23005. That's a request by Jacqueline Hernandez. Sign for the Sinaloa restaurant to legalize non-commercial outdoor artwork at 15503 Paramount Boulevard, C3. So,
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. This application is a request to legalize an art piece at a restaurant located at 15503 Paramount Boulevard, and our planning intern, Swerna Caraveo, will go over this item for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair and board members. Tonight I'll be presenting a development review application number 23005. The applicant is Jacqueline Hernandez Signs for a Sinaloense restaurant. The applicant is requesting to legalize non-commercial sculptural artwork for a Sinaloense restaurant located at 15503 Paramount Boulevard in the C3 General Commercial Zone. El Sinaloense restaurant has been established in the city of Paramount since 2009, so it's been over 14 years. They've been here for quite some time. So looking at this aerial view of the subject site, you'll see the property outlined in red and the sculpture location located in the star in yellow. The sculpture is located at the corner of a 7,500 square foot lot on the west side of Paramount Boulevard and the south side of Jefferson Street. The artist is Juan Casillas, who's based in Sinaloa, Mexico. He was able to hand draw the design on each letter depicting Mexican culture in the city of Culiacan, Sinaloa. The CLN in the artwork is an abbreviation for the city of Culiacan, Sinaloa, and the 96 signifies the year that El Sinaloense restaurant was established. The sign was manufactured in Tijuana, Mexico, located in the Pacific coast of Mexico in Baja California. So for a bit of context and a little bit of background, cities across Mexico are known for their large-scale, iconic, and colorful welcome signs, and the proposed artwork tries to resemble these iconic signs at a smaller scale to add character to the restaurant's exterior. So, and in the images here, you could see examples of signs, of the welcome signs of cities across Mexico at a large scale. So here we have Ensenada, La Paz, Santa Rosalia, and each letter, as you can see, they kind of depict the culture in that specific city. Here are the elevations of the proposed artwork. As you can see, they're bright, they're vibrant, and they're a smaller scale of the welcome signs in cities in Mexico. So with this, the planning department recommends approval for DRA number 23005. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have.
I have a question.
Yeah.
That this is an effort to legalize.
Yeah, to legalize it. So the sign has been there for a couple of years, and so now they're trying to, make steps to make this legalized and get their permits for this.
Plan without a permit?
So it didn't have permits.
What year was that?
It was a couple of years ago. I was at the top of my head. I don't remember.
Probably 2 or 3 years ago.
I'll give a little more background. So actually, the property owner and business owner's son, who was then the manager, installed it without permits and without the direct knowledge of the business owner. He explained to his mother that he did obtain permits from what I hear from her, he is out of the picture, and so she's now taken a change of course and wants to do the right thing. So.
Will this authorize other businesses to request the same?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Currently, the code does allow businesses to apply for these. Yes. It would come before you. No, they need to do it before.
I just have a question. What is the city's position if you, was the city aware that it wasn't permitted?
Yes, they were cited by code enforcement after it was installed. So yes, there's been a code enforcement case. That's what has kind of brought it up to this point. The code enforcement, yeah, it has taken this long to get them to come to apply for this and to try to legalize.
On the code enforcement, is there like fines or something like that go with that? Just-
I don't know if, I don't think they were fined, but I don't know that for sure. Yes, Ms. Vasquez, if you want to come up to the podium. And, thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners and city staff. Tonight I'm here to express my feelings regarding the sculpture located at 15508 Paramount Boulevard, 03 Paramount Boulevard. The sculpture is actually on Jefferson. It's not on Paramount Boulevard, it's on Jefferson. I've seen many changes to our city with the redevelopment resulting in some very beautiful additions, renovations to some new and existing buildings and residents. Also, I've been a resident of Paramount over 60 years, so I've seen a lot of changes. Throughout the redevelopment era, there was always certain standards, guidelines, and uniformity that had to be incorporated into any changes that were to be made, and had to receive approval from the Planning Commission and the city staff. My feeling regarding the artwork is that it was to promote a business, which you want to do, you want to promote your business. And it does not meet, I don't think it meets the uniformity that we have established on Paramount Boulevard. I understand there's many issues regarding and different feelings regarding other than mine. However, I would like to ask, but you've been discussing it already, why we're here now after the fact? Why wasn't the residents in the area made aware of it? That was my question, but I'm finding out tonight that there were no permits. Nobody applied for permits, and it took 3 years to get here tonight. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you for the opportunity to express my feelings. Thank you.
I believe the applicant is in the audience. I don't know if you wanted to speak also. If you could turn the microphone. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm the sign contractor for Encina Loense. I was called in to get the permits and legalize this sculpture that they installed without permits. I did not make the sign. The sign is well done, and it represents, and a lot of the customers are taking pictures and, making the feel of an experience in the restaurant. The sign is well done. It's very creative, very colorful. So I was inspecting the sign. I'm the sign contractor for my company, and I did the installation of their main sign with permits. So they did the permit. I think, if I recall correctly, it hasn't been 3 years for the installation. I think it's been less than that, and during the pandemic, it was also a delay in a lot of the things. In fact, yes, I agree with the son that he did not pull permits, but the mother is now willing to do whatever it takes to legalize it and make it legal for his business. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me? No? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion? Is there a motion? We can't do roll call until we have a motion.
You're moving to approve or deny?
Just to close the discussion, I have not moved
Oh,
to.
okay.
Was that the question?
Yeah, no, it's not a public hearing, so you don't need to move to.
David Moody. Board Member Moody? Board Member Timmons? Board Member Weisenberger? Vice Chair Gonzalez? Chair Esparza?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. As you stated, this item is a request by the city to approve a mural on the exterior walls of property located at 8018 to 8026 Alondra Boulevard and 15923 to 15927 California Avenue. And John King will be doing this item.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Board Chair Esparza and board members. Yeah, so really excited to present this to you. It's a request by the city-sponsored wall mural. So this is for a professional artist to paint, again, a non-commercial mural on the exterior walls of two commercial buildings and the back of two residential properties. The commercial buildings are part of 8018 to 8026 Alondra Boulevard. That's now the CNH adult daycare facility. And then the back of the two properties at 15923 California is one. The other is 15927 California Avenue. So those are two separate residential properties. And I'll go through each one on the next couple slides. The commercial properties is within the C3 general commercial zone, and the residential properties are in the RM multiple family residential zone. The artist, the recommended artist, her name is Mare Young, and we'll go over her qualifications. And just a background, this is a project that's funded by the public art fee. The public art fee is a 1% fee on development. It's assessed on development projects that you review and approve that are valued at $100,000 or more. And the point of that is so, the small home additions and kind of mom and pop type of businesses don't get assessed this fee, but larger developers are. So it's a great fund that's been in place since the 1990s. And for years, it was focused on sculptures, and at the direction of the city council and really the Paramount community, it's moved more into murals. This will be the third mural that the city has approved of this type. Here's a photo of Mare Young. So on the left side of this slide, you'll see the project site. So it's just off Paramount Boulevard, off the alley between Paramount and California Avenue, just south of Alondra, to the rear of the Arco gas station. So at the top here, let's see if we get this going. There are two buildings. Here's one building at the north, and just to the south, these two are the two larger buildings. This is the main part of the project. Those are part of the adult daycare facility. And then to the south are the two residential properties, 1 and 2. And you can see there are a number of project objectives, so we'll kind of go through this. Number one, this is, again, to meet the city council and community goals to bring color and energy to blank walls throughout the city. So we have a long history of strong development of development standards for a certain type of architecture, and we do have downtown guidelines. Through the years, and especially coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been a sense that some of those walls, like particularly the backside or the sides of walls, could use a little bit of color and to join in what other cities are doing, bring a little bit more of a sense of vibrancy. So there's that. And a big thing is also to deter graffiti, tagging, and vandalism. So which does happen on many of these walls, and that's kind of how this project started. There's the goal to be inspirational and uplifting, and at the same time to defer other specific themed murals to future planned mural projects. So we do have some plans for murals regarding sustainability, family and community, and history. For example, nearby City Hall, there's the current Paramount SAW building that the city is in the process of working to acquire, and that's the building right next to the hay tree, our historic hay tree, and that's where there's a planned historic themed mural. So ideally in the next year or two that will come to fruition. So the theme of this would be positivity and uplift. As we talked about last month during the Economic Development Board, it's also to bring economic value to the properties and to downtown Paramount. There is a value to art. And in this case, to deliver a quality project on a relatively modest budget. So the City Council allocated some funds for this project, and it came down to $10 a square foot. And at that price, you have a certain type of mural that's possible. So you're not, at that budget amount, you're not going to have very fine detail. So that's really what we're going for. At that budget, we attracted a certain type of muralist. So in addition to talent, the city's looking for artists that are experienced, professional, and organized. So as you can imagine, in the art world, there's is that the right side of your brain is the creative side, but to do projects of this scope, you really need that left side of the brain, the very organized side, and that's what cities are looking for. So we have that in mind. Finally, this project is very tricky. It's a balancing act because of the three property owners to get consensus from three separate property owners. So that was a lot of work, and I have to credit Steve Comparellis from our public safety department, whose job was to work on outreach with the property owners and give them some options, and in the end, deliver a mural that met their needs and their wants, along with the greater community. So here's what it looks now. This is, the top is a picture looking across the street from the Clearwater Crossing restaurants. So you can see, primarily passersby would mostly see this building from most angles. So it's a balancing act. So you want that color, but you don't want so much color. You don't want a fluorescent, you want it to be too bright to be distracting to drivers or passersby. You don't want a traffic hazard. So there was a element of brightness and consideration for orientation of the buildings. At the bottom is one of the residential walls. So this is a 5-foot high wall that would be tied into the project. So the city developed, so we, as a team, developed the criteria. We sent out what's called a call for artists. We put this out on social media. We put this out on various organizations within the state, the California Arts Commission, the Long Beach Arts Council, and the Los Angeles Art Share, or Art Space. So you can see from the flyer here, and this was also posted on our city's social media and website, experienced artists invited to submit samples of their work. And again, the theme was, or is, vibrancy and positivity in the community. And this is all under the umbrella of our Paramount Paints program. So here you have it. This is the larger building. So this is the view that you would mostly see from the street for most passersby. And the idea is, again, very uplifting. The artist, she gave a statement. She was inspired by the mural theme, vibrancy and positivity in the community. She's entitled this project Nizoni Kea, meaning beautiful land. And she says she created this artwork with this in mind and the practice of land stewardship. And this is her words: "It's important for our communities to protect and conserve where we live for the advancement of future generations. The hands are a representation of us as humans, and the foliage is a representation of the land. The long-billed curlew," this is a bird, the curlew is a representation of new life, new beginnings, and the spark of something new. And I have to say that the property owner here, the business owner and property owner, these words, this concept really spoke to that property owner, and this was a big thing to make this happen, to get the support of the property owner. And here's the second building. So here you see the curlew, and you can see there's some immediate elements that kind of jump out at you, the foliage, and some would say that there is kind of a little abstractness to this, and remember, this is done on a particular budget. Here's the next view. Here's the 5-foot high wall and the assisting hands and the idea of uplift, and then on to the final portion. I'd like to add that we are also working to have the artists and the support of the property owners, upon your approval, to also work on screen meshing that would cover the chain link fencing and the slats that would continue the concept to make it continuous. And here it is, basically interconnected. You see it all together, minus those missing two missing segments that ideally we would be able to have printed on the mesh material. And here is Mary Young. She has 20 years of experience. On the left, you see her professional profile. It says her portfolio includes varied accomplishments, including reference articles, exhibitions, lectures, and academic achievements. And she has a lot of accolades throughout the region. And the top right, she does have some work here in Paramount already. That's the utility box by Doubles, Paramount in Somerset. And to the top left, that's actually the city of Long Beach, but you might recognize that just south of Paramount's borders. She recently repainted it to remove some vandalism that unfortunately was there for some time. So she's professional. I like to say that I would add she was the first to submit an application, so that tells you a lot. In the art world, again, it can be a sense of disorganization. On the last deadline day, that's when they really came in, but she was the first to submit. So in conclusion, this proposal meets the City Council and community goals, the council's mandate really to bring color and energy to these blank walls. And again, the general orientation toward the alley does provide the elements of positivity and surprise. It will defer vandalism, it's inspiring, uplifting, and again defers other specifically murals that we will that we are planning for other locations with and those who have a larger budget to have more detail for history, to have some history themes at those locations. Again, they would add value to the properties, boosts a sense of community pride, and meets our relatively modest budget. The artist is talented, is proven, has that track record of being professional and organized. I'd like to add, there has been positive input from the general public. We took the opportunity to just kind of informally ask the public who came to the planning counter what their thoughts on this mural, and it was 100% positive. I'd like to say, and in our staff review, we did receive 21 applications, and this was the consensus to be the best of the 21. So with that, I recommend approval, and I am happy to answer any questions.
John, the consensus you spoke of,
Yes.
those are people from your department?
Not just our department. So, for one, the city manager. Secondly, we have an interdepartmental committee called the Action Committee, and it consists of the planning director, the community services director, public works director, public works assistant director, public safety director, public safety assistant director, and Steve Caparellis, who is the project. He has a new division, which I'm blanking on. Special projects division head, let's say. So yes, and this is the consensus. Yes, happy to say.
Well, I have to say that you mentioned color and energy, and in my opinion, that definitely has a lot of that. It does have a lot of that. I surveyed a couple of people in my neighborhood and people that I associate with, and our opinion was pretty much the same, that it was awfully colorful and maybe a little bit too much. I mean, that's just my opinion and the opinion of the others. We talk about blending in with the surrounding buildings and stuff, but I'm not sure if this really does. But she's definitely a talented individual, that's for sure.
As long as it doesn't attract the city, that's important. Especially where it's located.
Sure.
Any other?
I have a comment though. I think that the colors are beautiful, and I think that it brings, seems like beautification, where it shows, it seems like it brings about everything, a little bit of every ethnicity that we have in our city. But I agree with my commissioner, Mr. Weisberger, that it's kind of bright. It's very loud. I'd like to see it just a little more smooth, not so, just so bright, maybe, just a little more calm.
I could add that sorry to interrupt, but the artist has mentioned that she is very accommodating, and she is willing to say, we could change the colors, maybe the reds could become greens and so forth. So that is a possibility.
Just to make it a little more sophisticated, I think that we don't want it to be extra. I love color in our city, and I know what it does for buildings, but I just like to see it a little more sophisticated, not too much colors.
Let's say one more thing. I will say that I'm glad to hear that there's different categories. I wasn't aware of that. You say now there was history.
Oh, Yes, sustainability. So as you know, the city is greening up, and there are some ideas to have murals promoting sustainability, and the third would be family, just presenting family and community, and I have found another category is more recreation based, sports. For example, having images of soccer and the various other teams represented in Paramount.
And there was a history one too, right?
History, yes, and that was the one that would be right here by City Hall, by the hay tree, and you have a chance when you leave this evening, just take a look. It's the perfect canvas, you could say, for that type of for that type of artwork.
Have we, at this point, have we covered a mural in each of those categories yet?
We have not. We are new. This was actually our first call for artists, where we put it out for kind of the universe of artists in Southern California to view and turn in their applications, which was exciting. That was the first. So as we program more funds, and we're now working on the budget. Soul in the back is helping us to budget for more for next year, and that is the goal. As the city works to ideally acquire this building by City Hall, then that's when that would take place.
Just a minor correction. We're not actually purchasing Paramount Saw.
Exactly.
It's a private developer that's going to be purchasing it.
Facilitating it.
We're facilitating. That's a good word.
I would like to add, while I agree with, in a way, share your thoughts, and the start being loud, it's kind of the point for these to stand out. If we make it bland, then it's not going to stop anyone. So I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. Second.
Board Member Moody? Board Member Timmons?
Yes.
Board Member Weisenberger?
No.
Vice Chair Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chair Esparza?
Comments from board members? Staff?
No.
Board Member Esparza? Board Member Timmons? Board Member Weisenberger? Vice Chair Gonzalez? Chair Moody?
Second.
Board Member Esparza? Board Member Timmons? Board Member Weisenberger?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chair Moody?
No public comments? Yes, so the item number 2, the oral report, Sol Bejarano, our management analyst, is going to give you an update on the just completed small business grant program that was very, very successful.
Thank you, John. Good evening, Chair Moody and board members. As John mentioned, our City Small Business Assistance Grant Program has ended, and the impacts of COVID were felt throughout the nation. A stay-at-home order was put in place Non-essential businesses weren't allowed to open and affected small businesses the most. However, the American Rescue Plan was introduced, allowing funding to trickle down to state and local government. The city went ahead and set aside $500,000, which was then allocated to the Small Business Assistance Grant Program, and we partnered with Live Stories Forward, an online servicing platform that provided the city with support and programming administration that included program design, application intake and processing, fraud prevention, award distribution, and reporting for auditing purposes. The program went live on August 3rd, 2022. The first round of business grants was funded with $472,000, $500 in ARPA funding, allowing 27 businesses to receive grants. With the program's success, the council approved an additional $200,000 in ARPA funding, and an additional 13 businesses received grants. Grant awards of $7,500, $10,000, $15,000, and $20,000 were delivered to Paramount small businesses. The average grant award was $16,800. Part of what made the program successful was the city's outreach. That included social media campaign, in-person contact, and phone calls that were made explaining the program in both English and Spanish. The application intake, we've received 74 completed applications, and this does not include any of the applications that weren't complete, that were missing information. And of the 74 completed applications, 34 of them were denied. The reasons for that being that they had either previously been funded or they were not a legal business, meaning they didn't have the proper business licensing, or they were unresponsive to our request for information. However, there's still a possibility for them to receive additional funding. We've also forwarded them the website to the LA County's program for grant funding that's available to all micro businesses as well as small businesses. Now, the program, as John mentioned, was a success. Total awarded was $672,500. And 40 small businesses here in town received the much-needed assistance that they requested. On average, per business, the revenue that they generated was $289,000, and the average number of employees per business was 4, which means it's safe to assume that our grants helped keep 160 people employed here in town. The top 3 reasons that the businesses requested assistance were, again, to retain employees, to cover overhead costs, and to provide rent and utility relief. We did receive feedback from a couple of businesses that received the grant awards, and here's what they had to say. So Aura from Tony's Towing said it was a great program. The boost came just in time. We have been under a lot of stress since COVID, and all that we have tried has helped some, but we're still struggling. The monies came in at a much needed time. Jesus from Charlie's Transmission stated that he'd like to thank the City of Paramount. The Small Business Assistance Program was really helpful to us. And this concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Done, or is it still ongoing?
The program is done. However, like I mentioned, for those businesses that still are wanting to apply for assistance, LA County has a program available. They're offering grants from $2,500 up to $25,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, I did want to announce that our planning intern, Andrew Farias, who is going to be graduating from USC with his master's degree in urban planning this spring, has received a full-time job with a private company called Kimley Horn. So we wish Andrew good luck.